You'll share a kitchen and a receptionist, but you still isolated. So remember, one of the values of co-working is openness. There is some, but not fully. So, and the really primary reason for existing of rental facilities is to rent for profit. Then the second question I get, well, how's that different from Big Idea Lab? Some of you might be familiar with that organization. It's a high-tech startup incubator. And again, the difference is that the primary reason is to stimulate a high-growth venture backed up. So Big Idea Lab is backed up by Bellingham Angels. They select new technology startups and then kind of like little chicklets. They nest them, give them support and mentorship, and at some point they let them off to the world. That's not what we do in co-working, although sometimes it's a side effects of it. But the primary reason for co-working is this: facilitate a thriving community of independence. So I'll talk a little bit in a second about why this is so important, but it's really designed to help all independents and small businesses to stay in business and thrive. And I often, when I do economic development talks to banks, because my former background is in banking, I say it's from the job creation is no-brainer, right? If I am a one-person business and you help me grow and I hire one person, that's 100% hiring rate. So, right? So quoting, well, this is quoting the mayor of Santa Cruz in California is a co-founder of very successful, it's actually now a mini chain, I guess you could call it, because they have 4 of them. It's called Next Space. They are in Santa Cruz, in San Jose, in Los Angeles, and San Francisco. And he's also a mayor of Santa Cruz, and he said very early on when the crisis started, we realized that we are not interested in bringing large companies here. We're also not interested in bending backwards through tax and others to keep the big ones here. Who we want to invest in is 200, we're more interested in investing in 201-person businesses that we are trying to court and bend for to bring 200-person businesses. Because those 201-person businesses, they are members of this community already. They chose to be here, they're gonna grow the business here, they're gonna hire people. When we're talking about bringing 200-person business, oftentimes they're gonna come here for tax incentives. And once they don't get them, they're like, thank you very much, adios, I'm gone. They don't have a vested interest in the community. So, I want to pause here and say, before I pause, actually, I'm going to say there are 4 different types of co-working spaces, and then I'm going to introduce Jesse. You will see co-working spaces being created for profit. You will see co-working spaces being created as a non-for-profits, 501c3s. You will see co-working spaces created as a co-ops. I visited one in Denver last year. It's a cooperative of software developers and web designers. So they actually have a full ownership of the space. And the 4th one that is happening, and it's very much fueled by economics, is where smart business owners who own spaces, and there could be business residing in a space, or could be a property manager or a building owner, looks at the space and says, well, wait a minute, I have a resource and it's empty and therefore it's wasted. Maybe I should bring other businesses here and let them use it. And we discovered that right in our neighborhood in downtown Bellingham, we have a success story of that. So I'd like to bring here to and share the success Jesse Buer from 2020 Engineering.
Well, about 4 years ago now, we had a company that was about 12 years old, and we were bursting at the seams. It was 2007, and a lot of us were bursting at the seams. And we had 12 people in a very small space. And so my husband and I own this business, and he's quite a visionary in Melbourne. And he said, I want to get a really big space. And I said, well, we only need this much space. And he says, no, I want to get this much space. Because he says there's a lot of small, so he had a vision. He says there's a lot of guys like I was years ago just looking for a place to get started. And I would have loved to just kind of rent a little space in with some other engineers or people that were kind of on the same track I was. That would have been great for me. He tells a story about starting off in the corner of Northwest Recycling in a noisy warehouse and how miserable that was, and you know. So that was his vision, and I'm like, go. So we found